What is up, you horror nerds? It is me, your host, once again, Jeremiah Duncan. Welcome back to the channel. Today's review is not an underground one. It is about as mainstream as you can get. So if you haven't seen this, where you been? You haven't done anything the past few years. You obviously haven't went out and touched the grass. You haven't watched a movie. Because anybody that's even remotely into horror has already seen these. But I would be amiss if I did not share my thoughts with you, as well as little tidbits of information, because that's what I do. I'm talking about the double feature. We'll talk about both. It, 2017, as well as It Chapter 2 from 2019. So I got the double feature. I got both of them on here. For some ungodly reason, you are not familiar with these movies. Let me fill you in. This is the remakes, all right? It, 2017. In Derry, Maine, 7 young friends unite against a terrifying supernatural creature that has been haunting their small town for centuries, calling itself Pennywise, the dancing clown. It is a monster of unspeakable power that takes the form of everyone's most horrific fears. Threatened by their worst nightmares, the only way the kids can survive it is together. Now, it's not, you call it a sequel, It 2, but it's not really a sequel, especially even according to Stephen King. It is a continuation of this. And It 2 is basically Chapter 2 and not a whole completely different movie. It's just a continuation. Anyway, It Chapter 2. 27 years later, after the Losers Club defeated Pennywise, it has returned. Now adults, the losers have long since gone their separate ways, but with people disappearing again in Derry, Mike calls the others back home. Damaged by their past experiences, they must each conquer their deepest fears to destroy Pennywise, who has become deadlier than ever once and for all. Great films. Both of these are just top notch, and you have to love them. I mean, they're classic, they're iconic, super cool. It, 2017, runs for 2 hours and 15 minutes. They're long movies, rated R. I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. Both films are directed by Andy Muschietti, who did Mama, which was another great film. It Chapter 2, which was 2019, runs for 2 hours and 49 minutes and is also rated R. I'm giving that one a 7 out of 10. Not quite as good as Chapter 1, but Chapter 2 was super fun. Chapter 1 was actually the highest grossing Stephen King adaptation film to date, which is wild, because that man has had so many movies come out, and they're iconic and they're classic. So for It, 2017, to do that is phenomenal. I think the budget on Chapter 1 was about $35 million. They grossed like $701 million worldwide. They did their job. It Chapter 2, again, great sequel, great continuation. I absolutely loved the characters. That's what made me love Chapter 2, is how much the adults were acting like the kids. And can I just say, Bill Hader, you're a freaking genius. I loved you on SNL. I loved your stand-up stuff, your sketch comedy stuff. It's just awesome. And you knocked this out of the park. It makes the whole Chapter 2 just completely enjoyable, and I love that. What's wild about Chapter 2 is it is the longest horror film at 2 hours and 49 minutes to be given a wide theatrical release. I mean, that is a long movie and is insane. I think the budget for that one was like $79 million, so they upped the budget, but it only grossed to like $473. So they still made money, but not as successful as the first one, which is not as good as the first one, but it's still good. Check them both out if you haven't. They're great films. You got to have them in the collection regardless. It 2017, giving it 8 out of 10. It Chapter 2, 2019, giving it a 7 out of 10. If you've seen them, comment below. Love to hear your thoughts. Like, subscribe, hit the death bell for notifications. Stick around. I got more reviews coming to you daily. I appreciate y'all so much. Thank you.